We are back for the shot of Business Central. We've got a pretty good lineup of news for Business Central today. I'm going to start it off with the 18.3 Business Central update that I believe happened to pretty much everybody during the month of July. It had a lot of different hot fixes and feature changes and whatnot. Actually a good amount of feature changes like service-to-service authentication, dimension issue detection and repair tool, and integration of Word templates, data administration and cleanup tasks page feature, and integration of Word templates with interaction templates, which is funny. When I looked at both of them, they're exactly the same. So maybe it's a misprint.
So the integration of Word templates with interaction templates, this is actually the restoration of a feature that existed in Dynamics NAV years and years ago.
Yeah.
Where you could create a campaign segment within the CRM module, target a group of contacts, and then email them out emails, messages, campaign messages through email, through Outlook, and using these Word templates, Word layouts. And so that's really cool to see that they've actually brought back that functionality.
So do you know, so they have on the feature update listed integration of Word templates, and then down the line they have integration of Word templates with interaction templates. But when I looked, I believe it's the exact same thing. So do you know if there's a difference, or if maybe they just misprinted?
It does look, you're right. It looks very similar.
Yeah.
It actually is the same description.
Yeah, exact same description.
So I think it's a duplicate.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So they also had upgrade to certificate-based service-to-service authentication for Dataverse and Dynamics 365 integration. Get report into Excel from request-based feature. Save report data set to Excel from the request page feature. And finally, two of our favorites that we actually want to talk about. And the first one is being export any list part to Excel. And then after that, we're going to talk about the Business Central database capacity changes that went into effect July 1st. But Ken, take it away with export any list part to Excel. I know you tried it out and you really like this feature so far.
Actually, so I that was what I said I was going to talk about, but I'm actually going to talk about because I made a mistake, the get report raw data into Excel from the request page.
It's okay. So, this podcast isn't scripted.
So if you're using Business Central, right, you could go run a report over the past several years, and any report you could say, okay, I want to save this report as a PDF or a Word document or an Excel file. And if you set, let's say, the inventory valuation report into Excel, it would include like page headers and footers that were all where fields were merged together. And it was very difficult to use. But then there were some reports like an aged accounts payable, aged accounts receivable report, or trial balance, where there was actually a little checkbox and it would say print to Excel. And you could say print this to Excel, and then it would put it into this nice grid style format. But that was only for a couple reports. Now, with this new export raw data into Excel feature, any report, when you go say, okay, I want to, you open the report request page, you say send to, you actually now have two options. Send to Excel with layout and data, or data only.
Okay.
And when you send data only, it extracts the data from the report into a nice clean grid style report. So you can take that, build pivot tables, totals, sort it, do whatever you need to do with it.
So you're saying the reason why you don't want the headers is because it
you
combines, you can't do the
you
Excel
can't do a sum on
Gotcha.
like the total amount column because it's got all these merged cells in there. So it's difficult to take the source data and manipulate it or expand the use of it.
So it's a pretty big change.
Huge. I mean, basically any report you run now, you can export that raw data from that report set into an Excel grid style report. So yeah, this is one of the features that I think was targeted to be available, but I mean, yeah, this is huge because a lot of those reports is pulling data from multiple tables. So there's a lot of logic that's built into those reports. So it's like now you get the best of both worlds. You can run the reports, pull the data, but now open it in Excel in a clean, usable format. If you want to do charts, graphs, or whatever, pivot tables off of it.
Real nice.
So,
All right. That's one of the features I want to talk about. The next one is the storage database capacity changes to Business Central. I don't know, would you say that most people using Business Central, if you take all the companies as a whole globally, don't have an issue currently with the database storage?
yes, correct.
I would say most of
Yeah,
them.
I'm not aware of very many people, if any, that have had issues with where their database is outgrowing the available capacity.
So which is kind of surprising that Microsoft would make a change like this, but they did. And what they did is, so as of July 1st, 2021, the first thing is Microsoft is going to keep the 80 gigabyte database of storage limit and also the 40 gigabyte file storage limit, but they're also going to give you 2 gigabytes extra per Business Central Essentials user and 3 gigabytes extra per Business Central Premium user for no extra charge.
Right.
So that's pretty hefty amount.
Yeah.
They're also going to be doing a price drop for additional storage in Business Central. So the price drop is going to be like per gigabyte. So it's going to go from $40 per gigabyte, which I always thought, and I think you did too as well, is kind of pricey, $40 per gigabyte.
I'd say crazy.
Yeah, especially if you're going past this, you probably need a lot of gigabytes for your business. But they're dropping it from $40 to $10. So that's pretty big, pretty big price drop. And also, they're going to offer bulk pricing, which you're going to get like an additional 100 gigabytes will be $500. So it's basically what, $5 per gigabyte.
Yeah.
And right now at the current price, that 500 or that 100 gigabytes, right, or before July 1st would cost you $4,000 as opposed to 500 now. So that's a huge difference. That's a tremendous savings.
Yeah.
So,
and I think these are all my commentary on this all is that you're right. They're the companies that have started using Business Central, they've deployed Business Central Online. Generally, they're starting with a small database and they're starting to grow. And the database grows over time. But I think this speaks to the success of Business Central Online in that there's a ton of Dynamics NAV or maybe GP customers out there that have, let's say, 120 gig databases or 200 gig databases. They're now saying, hey, you know what? This looks like a good solution for us. We do have a concern about the size of our database. And so now if you have 50 users, right, you're paying for 50 users, you've now got the 80 gig plus on Business Premium, if you're doing manufacturing, 150 additional gig. So you now got 230 gig, which is a lot. Plus you still need more. Great. Add another 100 gig for a relatively small price point.
And plus, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the storage files and whatnot, I can't remember what it's called, are not included anymore.
Attachments
are not included in the storage capacity.
Yeah, when you add an attachment to like a customer record, like a sales certificate, a resale certificate, or an image of an item, let's say, or a drawing, those files are not counted as part of this space. So it's a huge change, and it's to encourage those customers that for years have been running on-premise solutions. Now it basically eliminates that as a potential barrier for them to say, no, that's why we're not moving. Right. It's like that argument's gone.
Yeah, you bring up a good point too. Like, it's getting to about the time where a lot of people are running NAV 2017, 2018 or whatnot are really starting to look into upgrading and so definitely a huge upgrade.
So that's 18.3.
Not too much, nothing crazy.
Wow.
All right. Also, we got there's a change to the on-premise object range that are allowed, I guess, for Business Central on-premise. Ken, I know you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Yeah, thanks. So what this pertains to is if you're running Business Central on-premise, they've expanded some custom object ranges that are available to be used with Business Central on-premise. I think there were some issues out there when you were running this with the available objects that could be used, so that Microsoft has made some changes to eliminate some issues that some partners and customers were having. And that really, again, that only related to the on-premise Business Central version.
Right.
So
Not bad at all. All right, and then next up, we've got, there's a new promotion called the Bridge to the Cloud promotion. I say new, I guess relatively in a loose term, because it's basically the same thing as, I can't remember the actual name of the promotion, but it was the promotion where if you were wanting to not pay your enhancement plan upfront for the entire year, you could switch to a cloud-based version, have the cloud version and the on-premise version, but pay the enhancement monthly. But your enhancement had to equal, the same amount of money within your user's cost or whatnot. It's kind of the same thing, only there's really one noticeable change, and that is at the end of the first year, you've got an option to, or you got a decision to make. Do you want to stay with this plan, which you can stay with up to 4 years, or do you want to go from having the cloud-based solution back to on-premise? If you choose to go on-premise, you are now responsible for any lapsed enhancement fees over the previous year. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So, I mean, it's
The takeaway is, if you are considering moving to Business Central online or subscription online,
yeah.
and you believe you're going to be doing it within the next, what is it?
4 years total.
4 years total.
Yeah.
Then you can move to a monthly
Yeah.
enhancement plan.
And have dual access rights.
With dual access rights, you can continue running on premise during that period. And then hopefully by 4 years, you have fully migrated to Business Central Online.
Yep.
If you think that from 4 years from now, you still might be on premise, then think twice about
Yeah, it's a no.
Switching to the monthly option.
Yeah. So takeaway is you better want to go to cloud. Otherwise, this promo is probably not for you. All right.
I think that's again, it's like most people they're used to the annual enhancement plan.
Mhm.
Just stay with it. It's going to continue. You're going to continue to be able to pay it and run on premise.
Yeah.
No problem. But if you're gonna be moving to Business Central Online in the next 3-4 years, and you prefer a monthly payment instead of one annual payment, then this is a good promo for you, because you also get a good discount
Right.
On the users.
Yeah. And in all fairness, this promo, its predecessors really started during COVID, and it helped out a lot of businesses that didn't want to pay that upfront cost for their enhancement fee for the whole year.
Right.
And they could just break it out into a monthly thing because of all the uncertainty that was going on with the pandemic and whatnot.
Yep.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, got something?
Yeah, Business Central User Group Summit
Oh, that's right.
coming up October 12th through the 15th in Houston.
Yep. And Ken, are you hosting any sessions again this year?
I am.
Of course. You're loved by everybody with them.
So shameless plug. I've got 2 sessions I'm going to be leading while I'm down there. One is called Business Central Custom Reports in 5 minutes, Start the Clock. And basically what it is it's an introduction to using Power BI with Business Central Online to build custom reports.
Nice.
And data sets.
Now, when you're presenting, can you actually start the clock?
Oh yeah,
Even with the interactive audience and whatnot.
We're gonna do a presentation, and then towards the end, I'm gonna start the clock.
Oh, nice.
And I'm gonna build a custom sales report with multiple tables.
Pressure's on.
And I've got 5 minutes to get it done.
Don't miss that deadline. What's the next session?
The other session I'm doing, I'm actually this one is even there's not as much pressure with this one, right? To get the report done in 5 minutes. But it's called Let's Assemble: How to Do Manufacturing, Assembly, and Jobs in Business Central.
Oh,
so I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah. So this is the key thing for this session is going to be, there's basically 3 different ways that you can do manufacturing, if you will, or create something, right? A material in Business Central. You can use assembly management, production management, or manufacturing, or jobs. And this is one of the biggest areas where we have a lot of confusion over is like, what should I be using? Can I use assembly for this? Should I be
Right.
using manufacturing? Or is this jobs? What
Yeah.
jobs? When should I use jobs? So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of make it fun. And I'm going to use a fictitious new brewing company that we're
Nice.
going to create called the Dynamic Brewing Company. And we're going to kind of go through some examples. Like we're going to pretend like we have a startup company. And we're going to use Business Central to get this company launched and discuss how and like when we're going to use jobs for certain things, what things we're going to use assembly for, and when we're going to use manufacturing.
Pretty cool. Did you write the description for the?
I did.
I love how it starts off. So if I could read the first half a sentence, it says, "In this fun session that is bound to make everyone want to head to the expo hall for a cold refreshment." I love it, right? It ties in with the beer and everything. It's great. It says, "We will compare and contrast the features of the standard assembly, manufacturing, and jobs modules within Business Central."
And I think, I think what's fun is, it's when you talk in these abstract concepts like jobs, assembly, it's kind of difficult to visualize for people, but when you got to put it into context. So, and what better context is there than a company that's brewing and producing beer?
Yeah, it's a real life example.
Right.
Everybody can relate to it.
Right.
It's not just,
you understand
live it out or whatever.
That you have to make a batch of beer,
Mhm.
that you have to bottle the beer.
Yeah.
All right. That you may come up with new recipes.
And you'll be producing the cans too.
A new production facility that you may be building, or a new marketing program, so on. So it'll be fun. So it's in Houston, in person. Looking forward to being there and seeing everybody.
Yeah, go on the website, sign up for it. We'll include a link to register on the in the show notes. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, tidbit for the NAV fans out there. NAV 2017 mainstream support is going to end on January 11th, 2022. I don't know how set in stone that is. I think isn't there one of the other versions of NAV that were supposed to end, but still has some updates
Yeah,
going on.
2016 actually had like maybe a few extra monthly updates beyond the original expiration date, but yeah.
All right, not too bad. And then there is a Nucleus Research ERP value matrix that was released. These are kind of a big deal because they're credible and they really do their research. So within this research, on the value matrix thing, Microsoft has achieved the position of a leader. And from directly within the report, I want to read something that it says. It says, Microsoft leverages a customer feedback model that allows the vendor to continue its customer-first approach through numerous community channels and user studies. Updates throughout the year have centered on improvements to core functionalities and IT compatibility. The simplifying of dimension editing for tasks such as general ledger entries was initiated in response to past difficulties in correcting errors inputted by users. Now, I know there's been a lot of changes, well, not honestly changes, but a lot of updates to dimensions over the past year with different updates. So I guess this company's actually taking notice and saying, hey, good job, Microsoft.
Yep.
If you look at it, Microsoft is, they're ahead of Oracle, Infor, SysPro, Epicor. They're pretty much ahead of everybody when you take into consideration everything. What else we got?
Got a couple integration topics here real quickly. I know this is kind of getting into the weeds, but there's a couple things just be aware of. If you're using the Business Central Web Services, be aware that the basic authentication method is being eliminated or deprecated in Microsoft terms. So if you're trying to use the basic authentication where you have your user ID and the web access key from the user record to do authentication, we found that in certain environments, at least, that's not available. Users, you can't connect.
Okay.
So you have to use OAuth 2.0.
Yeah.
Which kind of uses Azure Active Directory.
It's supposed to be quicker, right?
Yeah. So it's a little. I think there's a little bit more to the setup, or it's a different setup that you have to do to create the connection using tokens. But anyways. And then one other note is just that there's a new feature management inside Business Central where you can disable integration records. So integration records are tables inside Business Central that are storing data that are used to integrate data between Business Central and other Dynamics 365 products.
Okay.
The issue is that if you have a high volume of activity in your database, it could cause performance problems. So there's a new feature that you can go into feature management and enable this, and you can actually turn off or disable the integration records. So if you're not using any other Dynamics 365 products where you want to integrate the data, you can actually disable this. And if you're having performance problems, this will help.
So if you turn off the integration records, can you pick and choose which app you don't want it to integrate with? Or if you just turn off the integration records, it's turned off for connecting with field service, with sales, with everything? Do you know?
As a general rule, it's everything,
Okay.
but there is an alternate way that you can do integration. So and again, I don't want to get into the weeds on that, but there is another option available. But this has been known to cause performance problems.
Okay.
So now you can disable it. And actually new environments, I believe I saw, may have this disabled by default. And then if you want to use it, you can enable it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
One more.
Yeah, one more thing we'll talk about real quick. So, Shot at Business Central and a Beer has a brand new, fully dedicated Instagram podcast page. So if you're a fan of Instagram, you'll now be able to find our full show segments and the shorts all in one place. All you got to do is go on there and just search up Business Central ERP podcast. And as with everything else, you can find us on pretty much every other social channel, YouTube, whatever, Facebook. So, but this is for the Instagram fans out there. It's a dedicated page.
That was a shitload of news.
That was, and think about it. We actually really didn't talk about the biggest news yet, which is going to be our next segment, which is what's new in 19.0. The 2021 Release Wave 2 features have been released.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of news.
We'll give you our thoughts.